Hi guys, welcome back to my video channel. I'm gonna to teach you today what is auto wiring. If you're very much okay with the dependency injections, so we will learn how we can use the auto wiring in the Spring framework. But if you have not done a dependency injection, please look out to my previous videos. I have already shared you the dependency injections in the IOC container. In that video, IOC container and dependency injections, we have learned how many types of IOC containers are there. We have already done the dependency injections. In dependency injections, we have seen that we have two types of dependency injections. One is setter and one is constructor. So we have done both of them, setter injection and the constructor injection. So that two injections we have already done. But even though after that we have seen that when we are going to use setter injection or the constructor injection, so we can do the injections by different ways. Like we have in my, if my class is dependent on some of the, say like there is the one dependency as a primitive, there can be a dependency onto the class also, and there can be the dependency where we might have some of the list of objects. Okay, so it's a P. Okay, so like that, and might be the class P is there. So we have already covered that. If you want to look out the previous videos, please go through that and check how we have done that and see what is this dependency integer int name. This is a primitive data type. So this primitive dependency we have already learned how to do it and how to use it. Then we have seen the object dependency, that is also we have done. Then we have seen that how we can use the collection type of objects in case of my Spring. So the our class can dependent on different type of a data. It can depend on the object, it can depend on the primitive, it can depend on the collection of the object. So how we can inject that we have already done in the previous video. Please go through that video and then might be it is very easy for you guys to learn the auto wiring. Okay, so now what today we are gonna to cover, see, we have seen already this concept what is called as object dependency. But in my previous video, if you remember, we did this object dependency by using ourselves. We manually provide this dependency in the Spring configuration XML file. Today we are going to learn that we don't want to provide it. The container is going to implicitly do it for you. So as we know, there is the biggest feature in the Spring, that Spring container is going to provide you the objects. It's going to create the objects for you, manage the objects for you. So same Spring framework is providing us one another feature, that it is going to inject the objects, not the primitive. Remember, it is not going to primitive this type of variables into your by using the dependency injection. It can only implicitly inject the objects. So we will learn how Spring framework, how the container is going to inject this object now into your the class. Autowire is what exactly? Autowire is the injection of the object. Okay, we can say is the injection of the object. So who is going to inject the object for you? The Spring container will inject the object for you. So it's Spring container with the object. Okay, now we are not going to inject ourselves the object. The Spring container is going to inject the object for you. How we can do it? How programmatically we can see we do this injection by using the auto wiring. So we will see all the things by program, by using the program. We will see by the example also. Okay, so let us have a look about how many types of auto wire is there. So we have different ways of, we can do the different modules, or we can see the modes of auto wire is there. So we have the first way that we can say by name. Okay, we have a by name, we have a by type, we have constructor, and the one we have no, and then we have the fifth one, which is what exactly, because see there is how many modes are there, which is important. We will see that all the things. Okay, then first by name, by type, constructor is one thing, no, and auto detect. Okay, so these are the five modes of the five types, you can say, or you can say the five ways to do the auto wiring in our application. Now the first thing is that if I'm going to perform an auto wiring in my application, as we know that it's the injection of the object, which now we are not going to do, the Spring Container is going to do. So then how the Spring Container is going to do that injection? So we have to define to the Spring Container, do the injection by using the by name way, or by type by using constructor, or no is what exactly, it's a default which has always been no auto wiring. So by default is what exactly, it's the default auto wiring. No is default auto wiring, which means no auto wiring is there. Okay, then auto detecting and everything we will see one by one. What is that? What is the by name? What is the by type? What is the constructor? Okay, let us have a look in the by example only, so you can get the idea what do you mean by the auto. First I will take you in my previous examples which we have done in the previous videos. I just want to show you what I was telling you, that when we was doing, just a minute, sorry, I need to, yeah, so this was the example which we have done in the previous examples, and if you remember, in these examples we was using this ref tag. Okay, we was using this reference attribute and providing the object injections over here. Now we don't need to do this. Okay, so this is what we are now not using this reference attribute. We are not going to use this reference tag to provide the object injection. We have to tell to container do it for ourselves. We are not going to do it now. Okay, so let us have a look how we can do it. So let me create a new project for you guys. So we'll have a Maven project. Okay, so this is for our okay, I will give the project name. This is the third project, so which is the Spring Auto Wiring. Okay, let me just do one thing. I will copy these dependencies. Okay, so this is the dependencies which we are using over here. Okay, now let us make a class. I'm going to create a class. Okay, package, and let us take a class. We was having a person class. Let me take that class only over here, so that you can understand what is the difference between the previous program and this program. Okay, let us have a look. We have here say I have the int id, I have the string name of the person. Okay, and let me just create another class over here, and that class I'm going to give the name to that address class. Okay, this is itself a class, so I will take this class over here. So this is what we have already seen, this kind of a example in my previous video. So now what we are going to do over here is we have to inject this object. Okay, before that we need to create getter and setter methods. Let's go and generate the getter and setter methods. Where is my getter and setter method? Yeah, select all, generate it. Good. We need to take a constructor also if you want. Let me create okay, here I'm going to create the constructors also. and I will have here a default constructor also. So these are my all the constructors now. Okay, now what I'm going to have here is, so this is my the constructor, this is my the getter and setter, and now I want a toString method, so generate toString method. Let's go and generate it. So all done. So my class is not ready now. Okay, I have the person class, I have the person constructors with the getter, setter methods, everything is done. So in the address, let us take the address now. I will create here string say state. Okay, so let us take a one only variable over here, and I will generate the getter setter method. Okay, and let me take toString. Okay, now I'm gonna use, it's not mandatory to take the constructor and both all the things, whatever you need you can put that, but I'm just creating it. Okay, so this is my default constructor. So my both the classes are ready now. So what I need to learn now, I have to create a XML configuration file. So when you are going to create now the XML configuration file, remember one thing is most important for you now. So you have to go to the right click over here. When you are saying new, sorry, this is the one location, new, you have a Spring configuration file. In the previous example, if you know, we have done the same way. So here, what is the most important? We need to take a bean, we have to take a context, okay, and this time the one thing which is okay, so we have cache or beans is there, that's done, we don't require anything else. Okay, let me just go here and say finish it up. So I got this XML file. Now what is the thing which we did last time? We created the beans over here. So let me create the bean. We have a person bean. Okay, sorry, bean. Okay, I need to provide here the ID, the class. Okay, so this is what exactly my bean tag. And after this bean tag, I have to take another bean, which is for my address one. Okay, let me just first take, this is the person, so I can say the person, and then go to the person class, copy qualified name, and here paste it. Correct. So what we need to do, so next what I need to do is I have to go over here and say the property tags. Okay, so if you have some properties, you can provide the property over here. Okay, so what are the properties I have here? This is the name, and my person is having the name is ID. And the name over here. So let us provide the value also. Okay, so let me give here the ID is 101 and this is partner. Okay, now what we did last time, we provided here the property also. So let me just keep it as it is now, and I'm going to do here my ID is equivalent to and the class name. Okay, so what we need to do over here is we have to now go and create our another class object. So what is my another class is address. So I'm going to provide here the address, and I will go to the address class, go over here, copy qualified name, go and provide the name over here. Correct. So this is what exactly we have here the class now. In this class also I have a property, so let us take a property, and my property is state. So I will provide here the value of the state is equal to, say, like a, okay, anything you can provide. Now what is the thing which we need to do? If I can save it, okay, and say I didn't provide any property, any like for my the object, I didn't provide anything over here. So if I want to inject the object, okay, what I will tell to the class, person class, because in the person class I need to provide this address object. So I'm telling to the container, okay, do the auto wire, okay, sorry, we need to take our auto wire, okay, use the auto wire by default, by type, by name, constructor, anyone which is your. So my requirement is right now I'm telling to the container to go with by name. Okay, so by name means to say it will go and check the name of your object. What is the name of your object here which I injected? I provided here the address. Okay, what it will do in this bean XML file, it will check this ID. If this ID is going to match, so this is the class, it will go to the class, person class, and find the third property is your the address. So what is the type, what is the name of this object? Address. And if it find the same name of the ID into this configuration file, it will inject that particular ID. So by name means the name which is same as your the object name. Okay, so that means if I am going to do by type or by name, first of all, so by name means to say it will inject the object. Okay, it will inject the object according to the name of the bean. So here it will inject the object according to the bean name. That's correct. So that means if the bean name and your object and the bean name and the object of the class is same, then it will inject that particular object. Okay, if the ID is different and you have provided here the by name, and if it's not finding the name which is same as in your class which you declare, then it is not definitely going to inject that object. Okay, so here you have to remember one thing, your property name and your the object name should be same. Okay, so whatever the property name you are going to provide over here, okay, so that name should be same. Clear my point? So this is what exactly we are going to use now. So my property name is what exactly? My property name is the address, okay, and that should be same as what we are going to write. Okay, now what is the thing? This is a by name. So by name I have provided the address, that's enough. Now let us go and create a class. First we will see what will happen over here. Will we get an error? Will it work? So I will create a class and I will create a, so this is my the application class, public static. Okay, let's do one thing. We have already the class here. So app class is there. Let me copy the same. Okay, and let me go back and just provide here. Oh no, let me just do one thing. I will remove. Okay, so this is what my application context. This is again my the person is again the class. This is good, so I don't require here this. Okay, now let me just go here and say sysout person. Okay, now let us see, my bean name is bean.xml, so I can say here the bean.xml. Correct? Okay, everything is okay. Now let us run it. Java application. Okay, So we find the person ID is this, name is this, and address is equal to this. That means it injects. I didn't provide anything over here. I didn't provide, even though I didn't provide the property. I didn't provide the value, okay, variable that way. It's considered as if it's the object over here, but I didn't provide anything into the person class, okay. But what I did over here is I provide the by name. Let me just make one single change over here. I will give the object name as ADD. Let us see whether it is going to work, because as the definition is saying, when you are going to inject a by name, it will inject the object according to the bean name, okay. And the bean name is, if the bean name and here the property name is different, then definitely it won't work. Okay, let us see whether it is going to work or not. Okay, let's run again. It's providing me address is equal to null. That means not injecting, because it doesn't find anywhere the same bean. Got my point? So that means this is important to provide here the same name. Okay, let us take another one now. By type. If I say by type, okay, what will happen with the by type? It will check the type of this variable. If the type of this ID is the address and it will match in the class, like my person class is there, what is the type of that ID? What is the type of the object? If the type of the object is same as what you have defined over here, then it will inject that object. Whether the name is different, that doesn't matter for here. So here we can have any name for the ID. Okay, that object name can be anything, but whatever the object you are going to provide over here, the same name, the type should be same as whatever the type you provided inside the class. So type means the object type. Okay, let us see whether it is going to work for us or not. Okay, let me just run it. Okay, save this one. Yeah, it's working perfectly fine. That means for by type, it's okay. It is injecting the object, but what it is going to check, it is going to check the type of the object. Clear? So by name, by type. These are the two things which is going to be done. So now there are like a, if I have say like a by name. Okay, so by name, it will check your the ID. By type, it will definitely check the type of the object, and if it is same as your class, so it is going to inject the object. So this is the way of injecting the object by using the XML configuration. Okay, so we can do the auto wiring by two ways. Using the XML configuration, another one is called as annotation based on the annotation. So we can do auto wiring by using a annotation called as Autowire annotation. So there are two ways that you can perform. Either you can go and use the XML configuration, or you can use the Autowire by annotation. So this is the video where what we have learned. We have learned the configuration by XML way. In my next video, we will learn how to do the auto wiring by using the annotation based. Okay guys, so now in my next video we will learn how to do the auto wire by using the annotations, by using the auto wire annotation. So up to that, goodbye guys. Thanks for watching my channel.